Mexican Crossing Lines with your hosts, Cindy Gomez-Schempp.
And Duke Gomez-Schempp.
You're listening to 88.1 FM, KPPP, LP, Fargo, Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. And tonight, on a Mexican Crossing Lines, I have a special report from Oscar El Blue Ramirez from Tijuana, Baja California, talking to us about the important topic of caravan migrants that are instructed and how they're instructed and how they're being instructed. And also, he's going to be telling us about how migrants from the caravan, Central Americans, are getting IDs for voting in Mexico. Are they Mexican citizens? No. Should they be allowed to vote? No. Are they getting voter IDs to vote anyway? Yes. And they're also getting other forms of identification that belong to the purview of Mexican nationals exclusively, or should. And somehow, that is not what is happening, folks. Something very disturbing is happening in Mexico, and Oscar is going to bring a warning to us here in the United States as well. A warning of things to come. Hopefully that is not the case. I have a very disturbing article from Breitbart that shows videotape, folks, videotape of pro-migrant NGOs that are coaching people that are trying to seek asylum, coaching them on how to get their asylum claims passed. We've seen the same thing happening in Tijuana. We've seen the same thing happening in Mexico. Oscar El Blue Ramirez brought you videotape of him getting a confession from one of these workers of Al Otro Lado, telling folks what they're doing in their asylum claims and also falsifying marriage documents. So, folks, this is going to be a very important show. I hope that you're sharing this information with your groups and networks. We're going to be talking about all this tonight here on Mexican Crossing Lines. But first, I want to tell you the countdown is here, folks. We are a week away. My heart is aflutter. I don't know how I'm going to get all of the work ready before this conference at the Association of Borderland Studies with the professor from George Mason University, Guadalupe Correa Cabrera. But we are going. We will be there in just a week. And we will be spending time with Oscar El Blue Ramirez in Tijuana. Duke, tell folks how they can support us in our work, in our trip to San Diego next week.
Well, I'd like to thank everybody who's contributed because we are very close to the goal of being able to. We have enough money to buy our plane ticket. Hey, thank you very much. There's been so many people who have donated.
That's the most important part.
It's the most important part. We can get there, but we need just a little wee bit more, as they would say. If you go to kpppfm.com/donate, there's a post at the top of that page, and it tells you details. Click on that. Help contribute to the travel fund. It's tax deductible donation. Again, it's kpppfm.com. /donate. Also on that kpppfm.com, it tells a little history about our organization. Remember, we're a nonprofit organization. Any donations made are tax deductible, and they go straight into the work we do. And this trip is very focused on the work we're doing. We're looking forward to it. We can get there because of you. If you want to just send us information, you can always email Cindy at kpppfm.com or me, Duke, at kpppfm.com. And on Facebook, you can find us at 88.1 FM Fargo Moorhead, The People's Project, and Mexi-Can. Cindy even has a public page. Just look for @Cindy Go Schempp. And if you're driving around the Fargo Moorhead community or anywhere in the United States, or anywhere, you can call our message line and give us a voicemail at 701-566-0917. Again, that is 701-566-0917. You can also tweet us at media_PPP. And again, I would just like to thank you all for the contributions. Like I said, we need a little bit more. We're leaving in a week yesterday. We'll be in the air and from Minneapolis to San Diego. And probably within a week and a day, we'll be able to see Oscar. So we really look forward to it. And thank you for your support.
And also, I want to thank everyone that's been sending me information, especially for the network analysis that we're doing on the people from the Caravan Support Network. Oscar, let me get right to it. You have been investigating the activities of those who are coaching and organizing and exploiting this migrant caravan that has had many of the members of these caravans, these number of caravans, end up, all of them, in Tijuana. What is the latest that you have learned about what is happening with these migrants?
First of all, how you doing, Cindy? How you doing, Duke? Hi to every person in America. And say hello to all Minnesota and Minneapolis. Hope that it's not snowing anymore.
Oh, yeah. Don't jinx us.
Please stop. Stop with the snowing. Please stop. Well, Cindy, we have something that is quite amazing and is quite disturbing at the same time. And it's amazing in the fact that you don't imagine that how these people get the idea that they have the right to migrate. First of all, not only that they have the right to migrate to the United States. And not only that, the disgusting part about all this is that they are promoting this in Honduras, Guatemala, and El Salvador with big, gigantic signs in every corner that says, migrate, migrate. The United States is going to take care of you. They have Social Security for you. They have the entrance that's wide open for you. That's why, I had this issue, Cindy, of, a lot of people that they were sent back when they were right here in Tijuana. Mm-hmm. And, one of the things that it was is that you think about the people suffering in the street, living in a tent, mm-hmm. suffering from weather, suffering from not eating good, suffering from away from their family, all these suffering things. And they go back to their country. You can imagine that they're going to say to everybody, hey, you know what, don't go there. It's basically impossible to migrate. But no, the journalists over there, the television over there, the channels over there for more popular for Honduras and Guatemala and El Salvador are the ones that they're promoting. They're promoting the immigration. And this is the weird thing about it. You ask a lot of them, this guy that I've been talking to, there's 2 or 3 guys of them that I've been talking to a lot. And a lot of them, they go, these 3 fellas, they go to these immigrants and they ask them and they tell them, hey, you know what, but you have, this possibility to migrate. No, they told us that they're going to take care of us. They told us that they are going to pay the medical, housing, food, transportation, everything. And Cindy, really, if you're not that crazy enough to think about it, you start to analyze everything, and it is true. It is basically true. They're doing it, by a loophole, but it's basically true. Why? Because their entrance to Mexico is free. They don't pay a fee. They don't ask for documents. They don't ask for DNA testing on kids. They don't ask for anything. That's number 1. Number 2, when you get to Mexico, on the international pact, it says that they got to take care of you. Meanwhile, you get in the comfort of migrating to the place that you feel safe. So they get housing, or whether it is horrible or not horrible, they get that housing. They get water, they get food, they get clothing, they get donations. They get a bonus from the president that it just give them. Right now, they just gave them 6,000 pesos as a bonus for a month for the ones that they're coming in. So that's around, I believe, $300. So they're getting that bonus. Imagine that. Poor people, there's 60 million poor people in Mexico that don't even get 1 cent of the government. And now this president is giving away bonuses to these people. Not only, they get the idea because of this. So let me get to the, like the road that describes, that is a reality, Cindy. It is a reality because of all these spectaculars that they put on every city in Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. It's a reality. The disgusting left and all these socialist parties, they are the ones that they're putting this spectaculars and this big announcements on every city. You get housing, you get medical, you get everything. Not only that, you get transportation to go to the border. And when you get to the border, you get everything again. You get housing, you get food, you get social security, you get everything. And not only that, you get transportation to the United States. You get transportation, you get housing, you get food, you get medical. And not only that, the court date extends to you from 15 to 30 days. You go home and you're free. So I started to think about it when I started seeing a couple of interviews of them telling to the TV stations and telling to this couple people that I know of and telling the reality how it is. And all of them think like that, Cindy. All of them. That is the big problem for this to stop. The left party or this organization from America plus add that the Socialist Party over here is contributing to get them, pumped up to migrate. And not only that, get the Socialist Party over there in Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador. Get them the hell out. We don't want them here. Migrate. We want the whole country for ourselves. We've got to get some new people in here. So it's a reality, Cindy. It's basically a reality. These people, they think they own the authority to migrate to the United States, and the United States, it's part of their right. This is the way they think. And not only that, the majority thinks that they're going to conquer the United States, that they're going to take over the United States. I saw these couple of interviews, and then there was one particular one, that it was a Cuban one. It was a guy from Cuba. And these guys, that these kind of people, they're the ones that they have more rights on the political asylum, whether we like it or not. Whether we like it or not. As soon as a Cuban arrives to the border of the United States and says political asylum, they're taking over. It's not like, let me think about it, and there's laws that there are certain kind of countries that they're taking over. Like one of them is Palestine, because Palestine doesn't exist anymore, but it exists, but it doesn't exist. And there's parts of Palestine that exist. And if you get a guy that it claims that he was born from Palestine, the United States automatically takes him over as a political asylum. And the other ones, that there are a lot of them, are the Cubans. So this Cuban was talking to a TV station, and he was actually being genuine about every single word that it was coming out of his mouth. It was incredible to see him. It was just how amazing these people are. Not coached. These people, they know their rights immediately if they're trying to put the political asylum to the United States. He said, we know that we have better rights than Mexicans and people from Central America to migrate to the United States. It's a law. They can't take it away from us. As soon as I put a step in that doorstep, they need to open the door and welcome me because I'm running away from political asylum. Imagine that.
Wow.
Imagine that.
Oh my God.
They have this mentality that the United States owes them the political asylum.
Wow.
This is another factor, Cindy, with a bunch of trillion factors that this migration is going on. There's a big rumor now that they're trying to form this whole continent, this one country for one continent. It's just one continent under one ruler. This is rumors that they're going on in Mexico, and rumors that you're going on in Bolivia and in Peru and in Guatemala and all those places. They're trying to rule one continent. So these are factors that it's impossible to stop, Cindy. It's just basically impossible to stop this migration. Why? One of them, principal one, Mexico's part of it.
Mm-hmm. If
Mexico wasn't part of this, there wouldn't be a migration. There wouldn't be a mass invasion. There wouldn't be this word of caravan and migrating, because it's not a caravan, they're migrating. It wouldn't exist. But if Mexico is part of it, that's the number one factor. That Mexico is part of it. Now, Mexico is encouraging it? No, not Mexicans, the government. The government is in this pact and they don't want to get the hell out of it. So they're part of it too. So they're encouraging this ideology from Venezuela, from Maduro, from all these places that they're socialist countries that they want to dominate the United States. They're encouraging this. And they are putting the mentalizing, brainwashing all these people to tell them that they own the right to migrate to the United States. And they have spectaculars in Guatemala, and they have spectaculars in Salvador and Honduras that said, migrate is your right. The United States is going to take over you. They're going to take care of you. So that is why one of the principal factors that they're migrating, it is basically ridiculous. And more the Cubans, that they think that they have the right. They own the right.
It's interesting that you would talk about this because I just kept looking at Duke and saying, Duke, where are all the Cubans coming from? Where did all the Cubans come from? What's going on with the Cubans? And you know, we already knew that here in the United States, Mexicans fleeing poverty, violence, gangs, what have you, in Mexico cannot, historically, have not been given asylum. They just don't. But people from Central America have. So we knew that there was a hierarchy. But I've been making this argument, and I'm glad you brought this up, Oscar, because I have been saying, logically, who leaves their country without knowing their destination, without having the means to transport themselves to their destination, and without knowing what they will do when they reach their destination? Only a person that is crazy would go on such a trip, because you don't know any of the variables about how you're going to survive the trip, where you're going to end up, and what you're going to do when you go there. And yet, if you ask a majority of the people in this caravan, they will tell you that they left with no destination. They did not know where they're going to end up. They can't tell you where they're going to end up. They can't tell you how they're going to get there. And they can't tell you how they're going to survive the trip. They don't have any clothes. They don't have any food. They don't have any money. So how does somebody decide, on top of making a decision that is so insane, and by the thousands, so insane, you also are going to put your child in danger? You're going to put vulnerable people, disabled people in danger on top of that? It doesn't make any sense. Logically, it doesn't make any sense unless you have a death wish, or you're lying. Or you're lying, and the truth is that you have been promised those three things. Somebody promised you, don't worry about the transportation, we'll take care of that. Somebody promised them, don't worry about your destination, we'll take care of that. We got sponsors waiting for you in the United States. We're going to have housing for you in the United States. Don't worry about how you're going to eat on the trip or how you're going to sleep on the trip. We're going to take care of that. We have partners in Mexico. We're working with shelters. We're working with churches. We're working with activists. We got you covered. And you know what the other part is, Oscar? The media coverage. The media coverage, and especially the media coverage of the activists here in the United States that are part of this border support network. Because you know what they're saying to all of the people that are still back in Central America and Venezuela and all of these other countries that are now joining these caravans? Look at all the success stories. Look how easily it is done. All you need to do is jump over that wall. Look at what these people are doing. This person is driving in a Lamborghini right now. Look at this person over here. They're with their family. They've got a good place to live. They're enjoying their life. Come on over. The water's fine. That's how these people continue to develop these ideas through the propaganda, not only of the activists, but also of the media.
Yes, you know, and it's weird because over here it is impossible for people not to realize what is going on.
Right.
It is impossible. It is basically impossible. If you get a soccer game right here in Mexico against the United States, man, it blows up. Every national TV channel is going to be on that. Really, it is. Everyone is going to blow up. It's going to be on a Sunday, carne asada, everybody get together, family. God, it's a big thing.
Big deal.
But regarding a massive invasion in our country, nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about it. You got guys like me that they're talking about it with a phone. It's ridiculous. How are they protecting this socialist movement? Not only that, Cindy, the thing that gets me like, okay, you got people from Guatemala, from Honduras, from El Salvador, that they already think that they own the United States. That's their ideology. This goes with this activist that I don't want to say his name, this piece of, I don't want to say his name, activist, that it was over here in my city, and he was talking about, we're going to conquer the United States and $50,000. That's the kind of idea that they got poop. I'm sorry for the word. They got poop in their head, Cindy. That's what they got. That how in the hell you're going to get ideas that the United States owes you the right to migrate? When have you gotten the idea? Not only that, you get Africans from Congo, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, all these places that they're having incredible poverty of situations, political issues, insecurity, not that much because they're not even on the top 5 in the world. We've got cities. Mexico is the country number 1. Africa is not even on the top 10. They don't got not even one. But you got this immigrants from Africa. I don't know what are they telling them over there in Africa. Who tells them over there in Africa that it's okay to migrate to another, first of all, not to another city, because it's kind of like Guatemala in Chiapas. It's migrate basically to another city. It's like me migrating to San Diego. It's a city.
Yeah.
It's not a country. It's basically the same city, just a barrier that divides us. But over there, it's migrate to a city in Europe, and then from Europe, migrate to another continent. You're migrating from the continent of Africa to the continent of Europe, from the continent of Europe, migrating to the continent of America, and then from there, wait months for your humanitarian visa and for your work visa and for your visa of transit that they're not giving them to nobody right now, but they get this attitude that it's their right to go to the United States. Who is telling these people that? Who is basically telling them? They're having a problem with the Africans. The number one thing, Cindy, is because they don't have a consulate real close by the border.
Wow.
Regarding the people from, regarding the people from Guatemala and the people from El Salvador and Honduras, their consulate is real close.
Mm-hmm.
But these people from Africa, their consulate is all the way to Mexico.
Mexico City.
Mexico City. So it's on the center of the country.
Mm-hmm.
So to get them deported is really expensive. Why? Because they got to send them to the consulate of, Angola or whatever they got over there in Mexico. And from there, fly them over to the port of exit in Guatemala. And then from there, pay them a ticket to fly them over to I don't know which country so they can migrate again to Africa. So it's expensive. So that's why they're holding them right there, like hostage. They're like, okay, well, you're not going to give us the visa, so let's just, let us go back. You can't anymore because it's too expensive for us to spend on one. It's going to be like spending on 10 from Honduras and Guatemala. So they have them right there, but as long as they're right there, their attitudes of them is, if you're not going to let us go, we're just going to basically go without a permit. That's how this caravan is moving right now. This caravan the one that has just entered, the mother of all caravans, it's just entered. And they're entering in big parts, 3,000, 6,000, 5,000. And they're moving without a visa, a transit, without a humanitarian visa, and without a work visa.
Dang.
They are not identified. Nobody. You don't even know who is Juan, who's Pedro, if that is your kid. We didn't know before. Imagine now. We did not know before if that was your kid or not. And now they're moving out without nothing. Absolutely nothing. No bags checked. No luggage checked. No nothing. Absolutely nothing. They're just moving forward, pushing forward, because guess why? Because they think that is their right. And Mexico is taking away their right to migrate to the United States. So this is the idea, Cindy, that every single one of them has, is their right to migrate.
Well, guess what? Acting Attorney General Barr, the new Attorney General, has just announced that they're going to, and ultimately, and I've said this from the very beginning, these activists that have been telling people everyone has a right to migrate, everyone has a right to seek asylum, the United States is violating the law, Mexico and the United States are acting together to violate the human rights of the people in the caravan. I said, those activists are lying. They are lying to the caravan people because they cannot guarantee that even if you cross into the United States and ask for asylum, that they're not going to be held in a detention facility for months, for weeks, for months, or even for years, pending their hearing for asylum, because that's usually what happens. And because of the giant numbers of people crossing the border, and let me be clear, the majority of them are complaining about the fact that they have to wait for a number. And they don't want to wait for a number. And there's no percentage in it for them to wait, to do things legally, as Oscar has told you, is more difficult than if they do things illegally. It ends up being a better deal for them to jump over the wall, go into detention, and get released a few days later than to sit in Mexico for months and months and months waiting to go get a number that gives you an appointment date. Then you wait some more time until you get your hearing. Who's going to do things the right way when breaking the law gives you an advantage? So I've said that the people advising, giving legal advice to the caravan goers, telling them, yeah, you know, it's your right to seek asylum even if you don't go to a proper port of entry, basically, in my opinion, are encouraging people to cross illegally. And now that's going to have some dire consequences, because it has always been the purview of the Attorney General to say who gets bail and who doesn't get bail pending a hearing. And now they've basically said they're going to deny that bail. So for those people that crossed illegally, not at a border point of entry to seek asylum, they can deny those folks bail across the board. So I think this is going to have a very chilling effect on the receipt of all of these activists, how they're going to be received, how they're going to be looked at by the people in the caravan. Because I can tell you, nobody wants to sit in a jail for weeks or months or years. And as soon as the people in this caravan get stuck in detention facilities for months, and these activists begin to have to start begging for money for the commissary, for their phone cards, for their families back home, you're going to see something very different happen. People are going to get disgusted really, really fast. And you were telling me something else about what is happening in Mexico, having to do with People from Central America getting documentation and benefits and rights in Mexico that are supposed to be for Mexican citizens.
That is one of the things that it gets me real mad, Cindy. It gets me real mad. Why? Because I seen pregnant women outside of the hospitals in the floor having their kids. I seen me personally. Nobody can tell it to me because I seen it. I seen guys with a big injury in their head and blood coming out outside waiting to see if there's a miracle for them to get a number to get attended by a doctor in the general hospital. I seen people die on waiting because they don't have Social Security outside. I seen a lot of things regarding Social Security and how our medical system works over here in Mexico.
Just to make things clear, just to clear something up, El Instituto Mexicano del Seguro Social, which is IMSS for short, is our government-sponsored medical system in Mexico.
Thank you so much. Yes.
So when you say Social Security, people think here of disability benefits, and they're not the same thing. It's not the same thing.
I'm so sorry.
No, I just want to make it clear for people. So in America, if you hear him talk about IMSS or the Social Security, he's talking about like the Medicare system or the medical care system paid for by the government.
Yes. So I seen that, and it's horrible the way they treat Mexicans over here. The nurses and the doctors, they think the only world, and they treat us horrible. It's just so horrible over here. So for us to get the medical card and for us to get Social Security, you can buy it online, but you cannot use it. You can buy it online for you to be registered on as a Mexican with your code that is the one that it gives you the government to be registered as a citizen. It goes together. It's kind of like that. So with this, I can tell you it was disgusting. First of all, it gave me a great headache. Probably that's why I got sick the other day, because of this paperwork. And not only that, you start reading stats and you get to the point that it says 68 million Mexicans don't have medical care and don't have that pink ID. To get that pink ID, you need to work for specific companies that they give you that right for you to collect points for you to get. That's the system we're making for everybody. You get that pink ID, that is the medical care, the Social Security. Then with that, it comes another branch that is Infonavit. It goes together. Infonavit, what is Infonavit? It's another branch that if you don't have the pink ID, you don't get the right to create points with
housing,
with years that you've been working with, seniority, that you've been working at a company, and you'll create big points for you to get a house.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes together. It goes together. I don't know if I explained myself good, Cindy, but it kind of like goes like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to show you right now something that it got filtered. Filtered? Why? Because
basically it's the equivalent of, housing and urban development assistance and also Medicare assistance in the United States, in Mexico. And those are supposed to be, as you all well know here in the United States, for citizens only. Right? It's for citizens only.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And this activist from Mexico, he stole these documents from this particular person. He stole these documents. And he stole them because he was mad that he doesn't have medical care, and he doesn't have Social Security, and he doesn't have the possibility of buying a house one day. And if you get those documents, you can easily go and get your voter's ID. Why? Because you already registered, you already have a code and a code number, that is registered as you as a citizen, so you can go and get your voter's ID and vote. So he filtered this documents. I'm gonna show you Exhibit A, like they say in the FBI or whatever. This is
these are documents that were leaked to you by an angry Mexican who saw a person from Central America that had acquired these IDs, and this person knew that this is not a citizen of Mexico.
Yes, he was staying at this Mexican is a migrant. He's basically he's not. I don't like to say migrating, but he's basically migrating from Mexico City to over here to Tijuana.
Okay.
Because he doesn't want to live over there. Why? Because Mexico City is done too. It's taken over. So he's migrating, and he was staying at a hotel when he was paying room, daily stay. It was renting a room, and all these places they're renting rooms, Cindy, they're full with immigrants. They're packed. They're like packed. So he saw the opportunity of getting those documents. He's like, I'm gonna get them. So he stole those documents to show them to me, to show them to everybody. What are they doing in South of Chiapas and in South America and in this people of America? This is what is coming to your town. This is what is coming to your town. So this is an official document that shows the code of register of federal contributors. That it's kind of like when you're registered, they give you a specific number so you can plan a business,
right?
And you can get several government privileges. If you're a minor investor in a little business like a hot dog stand or whatever stand, you can ask for a loan for the government. So they give you a specific number, a code. You're registered now as a citizen of Mexico. Mm-hmm. And the other one is your CURP. El CURP is basically the code that identifies you to get Social Security or medical care. So this is Exhibit A of Catherine Sofia Giron Martinez. Catherine Sofia Giron Martinez, right there. Right there, Catherine Sofia Giron Martinez is a loyal document of Catherine Sofia Giron Martinez. You gotta get this to get what? Exhibit B. Instituto Mexicano del Seguro Social. That is IMSS, what Cindy was talking to you guys about. And they give you an assignation sheet that is, the actual one. I don't have it, but it's basically, this is the original document of her. And with this, she can get medical care, and she's up and running in Social Security. What does that mean? That she can actually work now with a specific company and collect points to buy a house. That only when you're registered as a Mexican citizen you can do. So this is Exhibit B.
IMSS card.
IMSS card.
Wow.
Exhibit C. The evidence. The full evidence. We're talking about Sofia Giron Martinez. Exhibit C is a humanitarian card from El Salvador, right there. So she's from El Salvador, and she's getting all the privileges that Mexicans, 68 million Mexicans, don't have. This person right here just got a golden ticket in Mexico for her to vote. Not only that, get free Social Security and medical care, and qualify in a year if you're working for the company, buy a house. Not only that, she's registered now as a Mexican citizen.
She can vote. So I have a question for you.
Yes.
According to the date on that humanitarian visa, did she acquire that humanitarian visa to be from El Salvador to be in Mexico recently? Is it possible, I guess my question is it possible that this woman is a citizen of Mexico now. Did she become a citizen recently? Could she have become a citizen recently
Yes.
to acquire those other papers?
Yes.
But how could she be a citizen of Mexico when she is? I mean,
That is the question. They're turning them.
so you're
They're
saying she's not
making them.
really a citizen of Mexico?
No. They're making them citizens. And not only that, Cindy, Morena, that is the political party, now we understand this whole empire that this president is nuts, really. Now I understand he's nuts. And is the greatest sin that I ever committed in my life probably is to vote for this guy. Morena wants to build an empire. And for them to build an empire in the next elections, they are not going to win with only Mexicans. They know that, Cindy. They know that there's a lot of angry Mexicans, that they are really mad that this guy won for president. So what is he doing?
Stacking the deck.
Also that he's migrating all these people. He's getting these people stationed in several places. Okay, they're migrating to the United States. Go ahead, migrate. But if you want to stay in Mexico, you get these privileges. You get the privilege to buy a house. You get the privilege to Social Security and medical care. And you get the privilege to vote. But if you want to vote, you got to vote for this people.
But I have a question for you, because I just want to make it very, very clear. When I asked you if you think that this woman might be a Mexican citizen now legally,
No, she's not.
the question is:
She's not a Mexican citizen.
is there a way that she might have gotten citizenship legally, doing things correctly? Is it possible?
There's no possibility. It takes a long time, Cindy. It takes a long time to become a Mexican citizen.
I wanted you to explain that. So you know for a fact that this woman has basically obtained fraudulent documents, and I want you to explain to people why you know they are fraudulent documents.
For you to become a Mexican citizen, it takes a long time. For you to get a work visa, it takes a long time. How can you become a Mexican citizen and obtain all these rights in only 1 month?
What?
When you got 68 million people that they are Mexican with their birth certificate and they don't have the right for Social Security.
Wow, 1 month?
It is illogical.
It's completely illogical. That's crazy. Also, now I'm asking you to speculate with my next question, okay? I realize this is a hypothesis, speculation on your part, but how is this woman, and I'm sure that this is likely happening in other places. It's probably not the singular person that is doing this. So how do you think she obtained these documents? What process do you think she went through to get them?
Is the government right now. Is the way that they're operating. This political party wants to buy everything. And there's a speculation of more than 20,000 immigrants that they're living over here in Tijuana, that they're from Central America, not counting the people from Haiti. The people from Haiti that came over here in 2015, it was 15,000. So give or take, let's give it 30,000 that they're right here, between 20, 30,000. Now, let's elaborate on that.
Okay.
If you get this kind of paperwork going, how many votes do you think you're going to get?
Wow.
If you got all this paperwork going, how many votes do you think you're going to get? And not only that, do you know when election time is coming?
No.
Over here to pick the governor that is the governor of Morena that wants to run for governor. His name is Bonilla. Last name Bonilla. First name Jaime.
Jaime.
He is the best friend of Andrés Manuel López Obrador. That's his best friend. He's been working with him for more than 25 years.
The fix is
So
in.
now he wants to run for governor. Let's go back a little bit, Cindy, and elaborate. Which are the states this caravan is moving through? Do you remember what I told you?
Mm-hmm.
They are all a same political party.
Mm-hmm.
Morena. Morena runs Chiapas, Morena runs Oaxaca, Morena runs Tabasco, Morena runs San Luis Potosí, Morena runs Veracruz, Morena runs Puebla, Morena runs Nuevo León, and Morena runs Piedras Negras. Morena runs all these political parties, which is the only state that they've been having problems because the mayor had a gag order. Tijuana. Tijuana is the only city that they're having problems with just completing the whole task.
Mm-hmm.
Every single voter to become Morena. Now, who is running for governor over here from Morena? Jaime Bonilla. What does he want? He wants to complete the whole task. And he doesn't care of buying votes. He doesn't care of bribing people and giving them money. He doesn't care about anything. So this comes to really a particular reason why they're doing it.
Now, I want to
Just
explain to
saying.
people that it's not uncommon for people in Mexico to buy votes. I mean, as long as I can, as long as I have a memory, I just want to make it clear, because here in the United States, people debate a lot over voter fraud and people buying votes and things like that, and it's just kind of far-fetched. It's far-fetched.
Let me interrupt you there for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this was the rumor back when election day for president was.
Mm.
You know, if you don't go to vote, they assign your vote to whatever party they want because you already registered with your ID card. So if you didn't, you know, the Institutional National Electoral, it has a register of all the citizens. It's a census.
Right.
They have a register.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say for number 1 to number 10, 7 went to vote and 3 didn't. So the Institutional National Electoral has the authority of picking those 3 people and, you know, distributing the votes. 1 for you, 1 for you, and 1 for you.
Ah.
So what they were doing was the people that they were not going to vote, these people had a Facebook page. Listen to this. These people had a Facebook page, and there were millions of groups. So these people were on the Facebook, and they were saying, I will sell my vote. How much are you willing to give me?
Oh, my God.
So political parties were approaching these people.
Wow.
For getting money. The necessity over here is ridiculous, Cindy. The necessity over here is ridiculous. They were selling them for $50 a vote. Imagine that. They sold their country for $50. Now, do you think doing that, selling their vote, they're not capable of doing this?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That is legit. And that they have the authority to do so now. Of course they're doing it. And this is coming to a town near you. This ideology of how to win elections is coming on June and July over here in Tijuana for governor and for mayor and for other, you know, positions. But the most important ones, governor and mayor. And the ones that they are opposing the migration is the mayor that he wants to re-elect himself again, Juan Manuel Gastelum. He wants to re-elect himself again. So he's the only one that is opposing for being a mayor. The other ones, they're in favor of this migration. So this last mayor is not going to win. We already know that. Our mayor concern is the governor. We don't want Bonilla to win. Why? Because he wants open borders. And why? Because he already went on the record. He already told everybody, migration is going to continue. So, what does this tell you?
And there's a lot of need in Mexico is one of the things that it tells me, because, you know, when I explain to my audience that there is a lot of corruption, it goes hand in hand with need. When you have a population of people that need so much, that don't have a big enough income, that are struggling, that are trying to make ends meet, those people are open to corruption. Those people are going to be more likely to say, okay, go ahead and pay me. I'll get you one of these Eames cards. Sure, let me get that for you. Okay, let me get you this other number so you can set up your Infonavit. Because there is such a great need among the Mexican people. That's why this is so insulting to me as a Mexican American, because wasn't this the president? Wasn't this the populist president that Mexico had been waiting for its entire history? Wasn't this the answer to our prayers? Wasn't he the guy that said, I'm going to put our people first, and I'm going to put the people at the bottom. I'm going to put them front and center. I'm going to take the indigenous people. I'm going to give them a spot in the spotlight. I'm going to take care of my countrymen first. And that's something that really, it gets to the core of you as a Mexican. Because if you ever watched the history of the presidencies of Mexico, you know that the Mexican people, the nation of Mexicans, has been kicked and kicked and kicked and kicked and kicked, and we still keep hoping. We still keep praying, thinking that sometime there's going to be a president that does right by us, that isn't just a thief for his friends and to give away the resources of Mexico to the rest of the world. And this guy, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, he pretended. I think he really tried to fulfill the ideal that most Mexicans had in their head of the perfect president. And now he wants to be the president of Central America?
No, it looks, I want to put out something for everybody to Google.
Okay.
It's a speculation for everybody to Google. Simón Bolívar, the conqueror of Latin America.
Right.
And he used to call it La Patria Grande.
Yes.
La Patria Grande. That's a speculation for people to Google it. Patria Grande. Patria Grande. Grande. I think that I said it right. Patria Grande. Google that. So you will learn what is this president want to do. I went earlier this morning, Cindy. Yes, go ahead.
No, I didn't say anything.
Okay. I went this morning earlier for the Mexican public. I'm sorry for my audience, Cindy. I'm sorry for you. I having problems with my phone. My phone doesn't work anymore. The plate is burned out because I always charging. My phone is done. So I went to earlier today to do a program over for the Mexican public, and I went to a specific place, and I went there for the Mexican public to analyze and to know how important it is on voting. There was a specific candidate back in in '94 that his name was Luis Donaldo Colosio, and he got murdered, and that specifically placed in Lomas Taurinas in Tijuana.
Yep.
This candidate was the hope. Even people from the opposite party, they were with him. He was a beautiful man. He was the hope of Mexico. I was young. I was 14, 15 years old, and I used to love the guy, to hear him. And my mother, I remember him, taking me to the TV and saying, "Mijo, listen to this. He's gonna be the hope of Mexico." My mom used to get all emotional because that was our chance. That was our chance to become one. And what happened? They killed him. They murdered him. His own political party, they murdered him because he wanted to change a lot of things.
Right.
Now, what was the first reason that I went there? Because I wanted to tell people that the leader that we have right now is not him. And it's not this guy. It's not this guy. He's not even this close. He's selling our land. He's selling our people. It looks like he's trying to I don't know, reemplazar. How do you say reemplazar?
Replace.
Replace.
Or supplant.
It sounds like he's trying to replace us with people from Honduras, people from Guatemala, and people from El Salvador. And I told the Mexican public, you need to understand that your boat is really important. And this guy, pointing to Luis Donaldo Colosio, was the guy that he gave everything for his land, even before he didn't became the president. Everybody knew that he was going to win. Yeah. But he didn't became the president.
Can I just interrupt you to say,
right now,
for the people in America that want to learn more about this, and I'm a Mexican crossing lines because I'm trying to educate people about what is happening in Mexico all the time, because what happens in Mexico usually ends up happening here in America. And I always think that it's important for Americans to know more about that, to pay attention to it. I've been trying to educate Duke. Duke, you and I recently watched the series about Colosio. It's called Colosio. You can go watch it on Netflix, guys. This is a great opportunity for you to learn the history. And I wanted to tell you, Oscar, I was a teenager. I was studying in Mexico City at the time that Luis Donaldo Colosio was assassinated. I remember when Salinas de Gortari was president. And I was teaching my husband about the importance. Remember that they murdered him, and I told you what an impact it had on me as a teenager to watch this guy that Mexico loves so much be murdered. It was very, very sad. Duke, what did you think of that guy?
Of the guy that got murdered?
Yeah, Colosio.
Well, because he wasn't taking these deals, and he was causing he was upsetting the apple cart, where the others that had all these plans. So he was getting in the way, so it was like, and they had an actor that looked a lot like him, because they did some shots, real footage and those sorts of things. And, so, and I'd already heard a little bit about it, and you told me about it before the movie, so I knew how it was going to end.
Yeah.
But it was really good to watch that, and also seeing the scenes from Mexico, and also seeing places I've been. When I see it in the background, I said, "Oh, I've been there." So it's like whenever I watch documentaries or anything with Mexico, I always try to spot places I've been. So it was very enjoyable watching it. It was all in Spanish, right? But it's subtitled in English.
It's subtitled in English.
Yes,
it was very well done. Would you recommend it to folks?
Oh, I would very much, very much.
It's a great piece of information about the history of Mexico, and I think it's really interesting that you're talking about the history of Colosio, and then you're teaching people here in the United States about it, and that right at the same time, there's a movie that comes out called Colosio for people to see here in the United States.
I'm not in the movie. If in case you want to promote the movie, I'm not in the movie. So I'm not in the movie, people. I'm not in the movie Colosio. I wish I was in the movie, but I'm not in the movie.
But Tijuana's in the movie. Tijuana is in the movie. Lomas Taurinas is in the movie, the place where you were at today. And there was something that happened when Colosio was murdered to the mind of the Mexican people, to the hearts of the Mexican people, and it felt like AMLO was the cure. Like AMLO was going to be the solve. Like AMLO was going to answer the prayers of the people. This is such a disappointment. I'm not a Mexican citizen, and I am disappointed for the Mexican people. I am sad for the Mexican people because les dieron gato por liebre. I mean, you guys got robbed.
Yes, and the problem is right now, Cindy, that he's doing so many things that they're considered as treason. So many things. One of the things is that he was the one that said that he was going to give land to the indigenous. And the indigenous right now, they got kicked out of Chiapas with their land. It's not basically their land, but the government told them you can live there. Now, they got kicked out, and guess who's living on them now? The migrants.
The migrants of Central America.
So it is the people of Chiapas are so sad. Talk to this journalist. I talk to this journalist all the time. I talk to him a lot. And the day that he saw the 3,000 breaking in, and that they hurt a particular fellow that he was on the store, and people are closing the stores early now over there, Cindy. They're closing the stores at 4, 3 o'clock. Businesses are going down again. So this guy was closing his store, And it's because the caravan was coming. He was closing the store, so he got so beat up by the caravan, and they stole everything in their business. He was sent to the hospital. He's in a coma. He hasn't woken up, and he almost died. He's I don't know. He hasn't woken up. So I'm talking to the journalist on the phone, and I'm like, brother, they're invading us, and he's crying, see, of anger. He's crying, and he's telling me we're not getting invaded. They're taking away our country, and it's so sad right now that we voted for somebody that supposedly I heard his speech. That was the speech that moved me to vote for him. That he was going to protect the sovereignty of the poor people, but he didn't say who, which. So now I know that he was not talking about us. He was talking about somebody else. That they're coming in and they're taking away all our land. And they're taking away all our rights. And 68 million, they don't have Social Security. And they do. They do now. They do have registered to get a house. And we have to wait. That's why I went today over there. To teach every Mexican to value what they have, to fight for what they have, because this land is ours, Cindy. It's not theirs. It's ours. They were not born here. They didn't have the gift to be born here in the Aztec ancestors. They don't have that right. They don't have that right to be like this guy, to just be and say, this guy was an honor for him to be Mexican. This guy on my back. They don't have that honor. I have it. And we have the right to change that by voting correctly with the particular person that wants to defend our rights. And not only that, I'm telling people that we have the right to tell our governors to do things like they said that they were going to be done. We have the right to go to their houses and knock on their doors and tell them, hey, you told me that you were going to protect me. This is not happening. What are you going to do about it? Because they get paid out of our taxes. They have stolen a bunch of millions and trillions of pesos out of our pockets. So it's really embarrassing for me right now to be going at a place where a guy was killed on the 23rd of March, 1994. Go over there and tell people, do you remember this guy? Do you remember why he got killed? Because he tried to change Mexico. He was not going to deal with no drug dealers, no drug lords. He was going to make peace and create Mexico great. And because of that, he got killed. Now we got a socialist. It is our job now, Cindy. It's our job as Mexicans. And it's our right to demand for us to do things right. And this, Cindy, right here, this is disappointing. This, you are from El Salvador. How in the hell you got papers in less than a month to get the right codes and numbers to get Infonavit, and not only that, to get medical care and Social Security? And if Mexicans are mad at me right now because the other day they were mad at me, a lot of them defend the president. It is ridiculous. And a lot of them were like, well, they are buying it just for documents, Oscar. Okay, hold on a second. Great. They're buying it for documents. Why 60 million of us don't have those documents? They're not supposed to be, all Mexicans have documents. Okay, now we're done with our country. Okay, let's try El Salvador now. First you, and then Guatemala. First you, and then Honduras. Let's wait. No, it's first other people now, and then us. And they're taking away their land. This caravan is moving so violently. It's really violent. This one, Cindy, is the most violent one that it has entered Mexico. I already told a lot of sources in the borders, watch out. Watch out. They are not going to cross and sit down. They don't want to stay on the immigration centers no more. They don't want to obey the Border Patrol. They don't want to obey the United States Customs. They don't want to obey nobody. If you want to shoot, go ahead and shoot. They're coming at you. They really are. They have 400 officers only, Cindy, guarding Chiapas against 6,000, 3,000. What do you think they're going to do?
Oh my God, I have to
They're
ask
not
you something about that. That's crazy. That's
Just go ahead.
insane. That's so insane. 400 officers for thousands and thousands of people. I mean, why don't they just put a sign, a neon sign that says, "Come and take Mexico. It's free." I just got to ask you, because AMLO is leaving Chiapas to the Central Americans, to the traffickers. It's just basically abandoning the state. And this is not just a physical taking of the land. It's not just displacement of the indigenous people, the poorest people in that state, which is already one of the poorest states in the country. But let me just ask you, what is this doing to commerce, to business, to tourism, to Chiapas?
It is down, Cindy. They're done. You know, when you get a journalist that is risking his life, like this couple of people that I know, and they are selling bread in their free time, what does that tell you, Cindy? When you get lawyers and doctors that they're living right there and they're migrating to another state, it tells you a lot. When you get these people that they have small businesses and they're closed now, they're closed. And the tourist part in Tuxtla and there's a lot of tourist spots over there, but especially Tuxtla. Tuxtla right now is lonely. Tuxtla makes millions and millions of dollars. Millions. It's beautiful. If you people want to go one day to Chiapas when there's no migrants in there, go. Tuxtla is beautiful. Beautiful. Right now it's down to, what he told me, I got the note right here. Down to 15% of production. 15. Wow. So imagine how much they're making. And I believe them. Why? Because they were staying on one street right here. And they thought that they owned the street. And there were like 10 businesses right there at that street. And all of them went down to 0%. That affected them 100%. None of them were making a profit. Why? Because nobody wanted to go through there.
Right.
Nobody wanted to go through tents, sickness, coughing people, sick people, diseases, prostitution, drugs, all that. You had all of that in one lane. You want it, come and get it. Right there. So all production goes down. And right now Chiapas is not suffering. They really, Cindy, you know what they care about, and I hear, and I have a couple friends of mine that they live over here and in Tijuana, and they're from Chiapas. And one of them came for a vacation over here in December, and he was just going to come to Christmas, and he's not going back. He told me, I'm not going back. Why? Because it's horrible. And they're suffering. These people are suffering, and they're suffering more. You know why? They're suffering more because nobody is helping them. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about what's happening to that piece of land. Nobody cares if it's taken over by Central America. Nobody cares if the president says, open migrants, go ahead. It looks like the president is trying to start a civil war to test us, to see what we are capable of.
Well,
really, it looks like that. And I don't know why, a lot of organizations like the cartels and all that, they're stopping. It's so much, so much things that they're happening that a lot of people are like, why the cartels are not acting? Because the cartels are involved in their own business. If this migration, for everybody to get, the idea that they're keep on asking me, Cindy, they're keeping on asking me, why the cartels don't do that? Why the cartels don't do nothing? Why the cartels are not acting? This is great for them. This is phenomenal for them. It's a distraction for the American authorities. They're more concerned of the crossings of people. This is great. If it continues, Go ahead, migrate, please. And not only that, take some with you when you're going up to the north. This is great business for them. So that's why they're not stopping. We are at war with everybody, Cindy. It's just horrible what is going on in Chiapas. And now we are against this. That, you know, my next operation, and now I said it over here, is that we are forming a group that it's going to go to the particular spots where they are going to vote. And we are going to check that every single one of them is Mexican. That every single one of them was born in Mexico, and it has the right to vote. And if we see only one, Cindy, only one, that we will know what they're doing. We will know what they're doing, because there's a lot of corruption, Cindy. They can do it on their own house. They can get the pamphlets to vote, and you get every single one of them.
Jesus. And we can expect something like
bad.
that. This is horrifying, and I know that it's becoming rampant in Mexico because of the corruption. I can't understand. I really wish someone could explain to me how the president of Mexico could be selling, basically giving away parts of the country piece by piece, because it is literally what's going to happen to Mexico. That reporter that called you, he was crying for a reason. How did that make you feel to hear a colleague, a reporter, crying on the phone as he realized that his country is being taken apart piece by piece?
No, you know, it's really upsetting. I haven't got that, you know, emotion yet. I don't know what he feels, because thank God that it hasn't happened to Tijuana. I hope that you know, I pray to God that it doesn't happen over here, because I don't know what his feeling is, but I can feel his anger, and I feel the same way. I feel the same way. It's a lot of people over here calling me racist, you know, and the nationalist. Yes, I am a nationalist. I love that guy. I adore him. He's the father figure for me. I try to follow his ideals, and I try to follow his love for his country and the love for the fight for people.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I can't betray my own persona by changing in a way that I will hang up with him and be like, you know what, it's okay. Everything is all right. These people are suffering. They're suffering too much, Cindy. Mm-hmm. And it's coming to a point now that it is really the thing right here. The difficult thing is that it's hard to control it. It's really hard to control it.
If your
country, people are saying, well, yes.
If your country's ruling party, Morena, is basically signaling that they're going to throw their hands up, there's nothing we can do. Listen, Mexican people, the caravans are here to stay. There's nothing you can do to stop them. There's nothing we're going to do to stop them. So accept this. Just begin to accept it. What do you think? It has
already been said, Cindy. It's already been said. A lot of people say that, and a lot of politicians say it, and they tell it to your face. You know, Marcelo Ebrard, the guy in charge of international relations, spoke 3 weeks or 2 weeks ago, and he told everybody after President Trump threatened to close the border, the next day he spoke with that arrogance. He spoke and he said, migration is going to continue, whether you like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a thing that this is a mass movement that is really is difficult to stop. It is really saddening. It's really saddening for us. Why? Because you know, they're doing something in Piedras Negras, Coahuila. Now they're doing something over there as a society, as a city. They're doing something. The speculation is that they are forming a barricade for them to not go through that city. That's what they're doing. Over here in Tijuana, you have a lot of activists. They're pro-Mexican. They're pro-nationalists. That they want to do something about it. They're tired of it. They're really tired of it. And they're just waiting for the particular moment that they see the buses again. They already have a plan. I can't speculate about that, but they already have a plan to stop it. Now, there's a lot of things that they've been going on. There's a lot of, activists that they want to go all the way down to Oaxaca and put a barricade right there and stop them.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to get more people. You can't go with 200 or 300 of them. You can't go with that. You can't fight 200 people against 6,000. You're gonna get bum rush. So it's basically, I don't know what has happened. Really, Cindy, I'm worried. I'm worried about, not about me, really, because I know that a lot of people right now, they want to shut me up. A lot of people. But I'm not worried about me, for those people that they want to do that. I'm not worried. Really, I'm not. What I'm worried about is the future of my country. That's what I'm worried about. That my country is going to become Center America. And it's not. It's not. We have a vast culture. We have beautiful people and beautiful women, beautiful, beautiful customs, beautiful minerals, and we have the cacao, el café, all the minerals, petróleo mexicano. We have all these things that we're going to make us rich, but I can't do anything about it, Cindy. We're tied. Our hands are tied now. It's a mass movement. And the only thing that I can say to people in America that they listen to me on a daily basis, and right now to your audience, Cindy, is that you better watch your borders. There were some people that they got mad, Cindy, on my audience, because I told, I support the president of the United States. I support President Trump protecting his country. Is the only one, Cindy, in the world that is doing it. Is the only one that has to do it. The only one that is standing up and saying, no.
Oh, no. Oh, no. There he is.
Right there. He's the only one that is standing and he's saying, no to this, no to that. First me, first my country, first me. Then later, okay. But right now, no. He's the only one. And they got mad, Cindy, a few of them, because I said that the 1-year deal that he did is a mistake. I don't agree with it. Oh my God, you're betraying our country, Oscar. They started saying, you're betraying my country, Oscar. You're against our country. You're against Trump. No, I'm not. Get out of that bubble, people. If you don't agree with your president, doesn't mean that you don't support him. It does agree. It means that you don't agree with what he's doing. I think that he's really smart. I think that he's a chess player. I think that he has a plan. But, this particular 1 year is going to prove that they're going to move more faster and they're going to bomb rush the border. So I don't agree with that 1 year. I was more in the guidelines, so next Friday, close it. And for an example, if Trump will close the border for just one day on the Sunday, Cindy, that is a done deal.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a businessman. He's more about, investments and money and what it comes in and out. So, people need to understand that right now they need to wake up to all this, what is happening, Cindy. It's happening. The one thing that you saw one day, Cindy, in The Simpsons, remember those cartoons that they were, putting out the New World Order? And it is really happening now.
Mm-hmm.
It is really happening. These people are trying to rule the world.
There is a recent arrest that was made, and this was very interesting to me because I hadn't really heard about this part of the trafficking of humans. And I believe it was on either No Entiendo News or Alfabeto News. Anyway, It was a story about the fact that the authorities in Mexico City, in the Mexico City airport, had found a group trafficking individuals through the airport. They bought a whole bunch of tickets together. That's why they were detected, because they bought like 15 seats all at the same time. And I swear to God, he had a picture up on the wall, Oscar, one of the same guys that was in the caravan that was in Tijuana, a pollero, a coyote, in other words, an acompañante, as they call them. The same guy I saw in Piedras Negras that said he was going to self-deport because he didn't like the tuna fish. The same face that was in Tijuana, the same guy was in the pictures at the airport in Mexico. And I was screaming at the TV. I'm like, that's the tuna fish guy. That's the tuna fish guy. And they're trafficking people in airplanes. So let me just tell you something. You know, this is just to add a little bit of more insult to injury. And the person that was reporting on this, he's pro-migration. He's very defending the migrants all the time. And, he's very gentle about that. He was even embarrassed. His face looked embarrassed as he's trying to explain, how are these people who are supposedly fleeing poverty, flying from place to place, how are the people that are the accompaniers flying with the migrants? Some people get first-rate accommodations, I guess, in this group of people being smuggled across these continents from Central America through Mexico into the United States. Some of them have to ride in the back of a semi-truck. Some of them get to ride in a bus. Some of them have to hitchhike. But some of them get to ride in airplanes.
It's, Cindy, I don't know how many days was it. I think it was a couple of days ago, more than 3 days ago. Anthony, my partner, he was the El Paso airport. And he was really sad to show me, this was off air. We were talking FaceTime, and he was showing me, he was telling me, you know what, partner, this is ridiculous. Look at this. And he was showing me the line of the airport, and you see a long line of immigrants waiting with the plane ticket. With their plane ticket. And there's Americans all the way to the back waiting to aboard the same plane.
Oh my God.
And you're wow, when did they get the privilege to go in front of, first of all, of a citizen that is from the United States, that actually pays taxes, that actually works for the country, that actually is a citizen of the United States, that actually was born in that country? When did they have the right to, hold on, I'm it's my right. When? And it's packed with immigrants. Now, this is the things that I tell you, Cindy. All of those things people need to not to get accustomed, because the United States is the only door for help. They are the key to our, their savior to this migration. This is the problem. They're telling them that is their right to migrate. And the United States owes them the right to migrate, because they have taken away their land in their countries, because the United States has invaded Guatemala and El Salvador and Honduras with military bases. So that particularly, these people are so close-minded, and they tell them, because of that, you have the right. And the United States has to give you that right.
You know what they're counting on?
Human rights is, what was that?
Do you know what they're counting on? Do you know what they're counting on? I'm going to tell you. This is my opinion. You can disagree if you think I'm wrong. But in my opinion, we know, I've lived here my entire life. I was born in Houston, Texas. And I can tell you from my entire life's experience, Neither Democrat nor Republican nor independent has ever wanted to fix the problem. Sure, Reagan gave us amnesty, but the no party has wanted to fix the problem. Why is that? Because they prefer for people to live in the shadows. Why doesn't the party that represents work and economic growth like the Republicans want to solve the problem? Because they want a permanent underclass. Why don't the Democrats want to solve the problem? Because they want the same thing too. They want the same thing too. And guess what? Right now, they're bringing in thousands and thousands of people to the United States. And you know, it's not really, I'm going to make a prediction right now. It's not really going to hurt America the same way as it's going to hurt Mexico. Let me explain. I'm not saying that this is not bad news, and I mean bad news for the United States, because we're going to be overrun with people that are undocumented, whose backgrounds we do not know. Is that going to make all of our communities less safe? Yes. Is that going to make our communities have less resources for everyone else? Yes. Are a bunch of people going to get millions and millions of dollars in resources that should have gone to American citizens, that should go to programs for American people? Instead, they're going to piss them down a rat hole, giving them to all of these different detention facilities and shelters and all of these for people, and let me reiterate, that will, in their majority, be deported because they do not qualify for asylum. They never did. And the people that are telling them, it's your right to migrate, it's your right to seek asylum, they know that. They know that these people are going to be deported. Maybe it's going to be a year. Maybe it's going to be 2 years. Maybe it's going to be 3 years. But do you know how many people in Mexico, in Central America, and all through Latin America would give their right arm for an opportunity to come to the United States for 1 year? Just for 1 year? Do you know that people are selling themselves to coyotes, committing crimes even, just for the opportunity to come here for 1 year? And these people are automatically going to be stuck here for years. Years waiting. What's going to happen in that time? Well, what do you think we're going to need to do to clean up this gigantic mess? We're going to have to expand ICE. We're going to have to expand detention facilities. We're going to have to, and we're going to have to take care of them. You know, they're going to need three hots and a tot, right? These folks are going, but since we have privatized prison systems, people are going to get money. Follow the money. Follow who's making money off of allowing all of this to happen. Because we can sit here and predict voter fraud. We can sit here and talk about all the things that are already, we've shown you, they're already happening in Mexico. How bad is it? It's bad enough that people are calling reporters in Tijuana from Chiapas and crying while they give the news. That's how ugly things are now. And we can talk about how that's coming here. But the real question is, does anybody care? Because ultimately, I know that this is going to provide employment for people in ICE, for people in Border Patrol, steady employment, secure employment in all of these areas, working in social services and providing services to all these people. Does anyone want to solve the problem? Does anyone want to get to the root of the problem? Does anyone want to stop the problem? Whether it's in Mexico or here in the United States, I don't think that the answer is yes. I can't say that the answer is yet. I don't see it. I don't even see it. When I hear the president say, and I know a lot of people disagree with me on this too. When I hear President Trump say, I'm going to send all of these migrants to the sanctuary cities, I'm like, why? Why are you going to reward all of these phonies and frauds that started these organizations that are getting millions and millions of dollars that are going to make them rich? Do you really think that they're going to provide all of the services that they said they were going to provide? No, they're going to throw those people out in the streets, and the taxpayers of America are going to have to solve that problem. Why would the president reward these charlatans? I don't understand that part. So I'm just asking that question because I ask myself this question all the time. Does anybody care about the root of this problem here in the United States? I don't think so. I don't believe so. I don't see it. Your thoughts, Oscar?
No, well, it goes. If as I started, I have told this story too many times. I'm a sports broadcaster. I'm a boxing broadcaster. I call fights. That's my thing. I call fights, and I got into this because it was preoccupying to see my city getting invaded. Now, as much as you get into it, you're so involved now that it's really difficult to get out of it. Why? Because you want to protect now. You want to help. And us, that we are so involved in it, we see much more the demonic ideas of this leftist and this socialist people. We see more what they're doing and what they don't care about. Mm-hmm. Really, they're fighting for humanity and they're fighting for human rights, but they are affecting humans. They're trafficking children, they're trafficking organs, they're trafficking families, they're making fake marriages, they're making fake families, they're trafficking through the mountains, through the desert, getting lost, and probably, some of them are hunger and they're thirsty, and they're making them so much suffer that you think, okay, they're doing something, but they're not. They're
let me just make a
other country.
I'm sorry to interrupt you,
Yes.
but I wanted to make a distinction in the translation of tráfico humano. In English, we would say human smuggling. Ahora, si estás hablando de trata de blancas o trata de tráfico sexual, en particular, that's human trafficking. Okay? So es una distinción because I don't want people to think everybody's getting raped. Everybody is being forced into prostitution because it's a really important distinction. Now, human trafficking, where people are forced into prostitution and exploited for money, is also a problem, huge problem. We have discussed that some of the children that recently you reported, Oscar, went to human rights to give their declarations against the coyote that was offering them to cross them for sex. That is evidence of human trafficking. Okay? But the rest of this, it's massive human smuggling. That's still a crime, folks. It's a huge, huge crime. Are all of those people available to exploit? Yes. But I believe in making sure that we educate folks at the same time as we're explaining what's happening in Mexico. Go on, Oscar. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes, human smuggling. Now that you get it, human smuggling. Mm-hmm. And over here, that in Tijuana is the capital of prostitution. Prostitution is legal over here. There's a lot of them that they stay here. A lot of women stay here and work as prostitutes because they ask how much money, and this is the way they get across too. It's so demonic how they get these ideas, and you get these 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, they think like 25-year-olds, like 30-year-olds already. They've been through relationships, they already been through horror stories and all this stuff. So they ask particular people how much a prostitute makes over here. Well, if you work on Saturdays, Sundays, and you work the whole day, you make around $1,000, $2,000. And you're young, so you're good. So what they do is they get involved. And now you got all the prostitute bars like this. They're outside. Paloma and Van Berk, when we came over here, and it was packed. It was packed the other day. I was driving, and it's packed on Saturdays and Sundays. It's packed, Cindy. It's packed with people. It's packed with women. And they're not from here.
Can I ask you a question?
Here. They're from Central America.
I was going to ask you about that. You've actually asked them, talk to them to find out what kind of percentage of them are from Central America. I have two questions because I want to see more reporting on that. I would love for you to show how many people end up in prostitution in Central. It's a huge.
That is going to cause me a problem, Cindy, if I go to that place.
No.
Come on, Cindy. Don't provoke me.
No, but I really want to know because this is a huge problem. Second question, how many transgender and gay people from the caravans are...
Cindy.
Please tell me. It's a real question I have.
Cindy.
Tell me.
We never touched that subject, but I can't, in that particular avenue that is called Coahuila, and in that particular avenue is all full of prostitution. There's few bars. There's bars that they don't take minors, and there's bars that they take minors, and there's bars that they actually have them on little rooms. So the customer will wait and then gets his service and they're gone. So there was this time I remember we were four of us. We were right there in the middle of the street, and there was these young ladies. They came at us and they were like asking for food, asking money for food. So a few of us pitch in, and there was a taco shop in the corner, and we told the taco guy, give them food with this. How much you can get? Oh, you can get like, I don't know, it was 10 tacos, I think so. Yeah. So we bought them 10 tacos. Okay, 10 tacos. And they stayed conversating with us. It was two young ladies. They were like 16, 17-year-old teenagers, or that's what you say, teenagers? Well, yeah. 16, 17 years old. Mm-hmm. So they were asking. They were kind of curious. And you get this mind that you start thinking, wow, this is how they think. You get this idea. So they were asking. That's how I got this ideology, how they're working. They started asking you, hey, the business is real good right here with the prostitutes, huh? And, to be honest with you, business right here with the prostitute, they make thousands a week. Thousands. You got from Europe, from Africa, you got prostitutes from the United States coming to work in these bars.
What?
Yes, you got a lot of them. It's packed. It's packed. Back in the day, Cindy, back in the day when I was young, it's packed. It's packed with all these people. It's packed. And you see them outside walking. You got Russians. You got people from Asia. You got people from all parts of the world, Cindy. It's all parts of the world. So these young girls started asking, a lot of us know how much they make. So we told them, why are you asking this? Don't do that. Go to your country. Do things right. No. We don't know. How much they make. And they realize that they make a bunch of money, so you don't see them in the camp no more.
Can I ask you something?
You don't see them.
Because I've seen prostitution in Mexico in other places. I mean, it's not legal in other places necessarily, but it still happens. And it's not very well hidden. I mean, it's kind of out in the open. For example, in Mexico City, you see prostis por todas partes, right? Anyway, question is, do they make more money in Tijuana because of the proximity to the border than they would in other cities inside of Mexico?
Cindy, I can't take a phone and record. That is against the law.
Right. No, but I'm just asking you your opinion.
Yes. No, I'm going there. It's against, I can't take the phone and record because I can tell you that I will try. I will try to go one day so you can realize how many Americans are in there. It's packed with Americans. They manage dollars. They don't care about pesos. They manage dollars. Every price, the private dances, the liquor, all of it is on dollars. And it's a lot of minors prostitution right there. It's disgusting. It's a lot. It's a whole business. That is a business right there. It's a business. And it's always packed. So if you're talking about if these people that they're arranged, that they come over here, are they already arranged to work in several particular bars? Yes, they are. Yes, they are. The transgenders, they arrived first, right here. They saw one of them working at a hotel that is really famous right here in Tijuana, outside in the corner.
And the reason I ask you this, I saw that news piece, and the reason I'm asking you this is this reason. I have been talking to people that have been embedded with the caravan, that have been studying the caravans, talking to the shelters, talking to the LGBTQ people within these caravans. And this is what they tell me. What they tell me is that many of these, especially transgender caravan goers, come from backgrounds in countries where getting a normal job is very, very, very difficult. Most people, you let me know if this is wrong, okay? Most people will not give them normal jobs. So they're left with two options: doing hair and makeup or prostitution. Many of them find themselves forced into prostitution to have a way to survive. And then they decide to migrate. Now, let me say a third thing. The people I've spoken to that have been interviewing and talking to the folks from the LGBTQ caravan, and in particular with transgender people, have said that most of the transgender people they talk to say that they don't really have many options, and many of them confess to having sexually transmitted diseases and confess to being HIV positive. Now, I want you to think about that for a minute. Because Oscar is telling you, and we've seen it, who arrives first in the caravan? What caravan part is given priority to reach its destination right away, to seek asylum in the United States right away? The LGBTQ caravan. The LGBTQ people. Every single time, right? So let me just ask you the question. If the people that are coming have already stated that they have been forced into prostitution, we know that they're vulnerable to this idea, to this work, because it's what they've been told that they can do. And they're going to a city where it's legal to prostitute yourself. Let's say you don't necessarily know if you're going to get asylum. You're still going to end up in one of the cities, according to Oscar, where prostitution is legal, and prostitutes are making thousands in U.S. dollars right at the U.S. border. There's an incentive. All I'm saying is, don't you think there's an incentive, Oscar? I mean, isn't that baked into the equation?
There's a story, and there's a really, she's famous now. I will give you her name. I don't remember the name. Ah, man. I will get it right now.
Pitaya Queen?
She stayed in Monterrey.
Oh.
There was this lady. She was from Honduras. Pretty good looking lady. Mm-hmm. That she looked exactly, they were comparing her like a model.
Right.
And she was riding in the caravan. And now she is, she has her own show and prostitute site.
A what?
In the bar. Where they sell
a prostitute show. Okay.
She has her own show now.
Okay.
Her whole ideal, and a lot of these people, you might understand. You have to understand, Cindy. When you get to Tijuana, it's a lot of things. There's a lot of people that they come not to migrate. They get to the cartels. They know that they have, it's easy money. They can make a couple thousand in 3-4 days if they move this over there and move it over here and move it over there and cross it over here and put some people over here. They can make 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,000 in a week. And when it comes to prostitutes, there's a lot of women that they're coming over here, and they get the idea and they start asking. They don't ask you they ask you because they already know that the capital of prostitution and the city that has more prostitution in the world is Tijuana.
Oh my God.
So they get to this city and they ask you how much they make. It's illogical if you see a, a woman from America coming over here to a bar to work. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? It tells you
There's a lot
that
of work.
particular female in one day she can make more than $1,000. More than 1,000 easily. Easily. She can make more than 1,000. So these ladies start getting these stories out through their ears, and they're like, you know what? The hell with it. Why am I migrating? Why am I suffering? You know, I can pay the coyote to just, you know, cross me in the car. The United States Custom has already been paid because don't get offended, American audience. A lot of customs are bought. A lot of them. This is a fact and is already known. A lot of them are bought. A lot of them are crooked, and a lot of them work with the cartel. So they, you know, the amount to cross in a car with another individual is between $10,000 and $13,000. So imagine if they can prostitute for, like, I don't know, one month, they can easily cross and get paperwork and get all these things that they give you with that privilege without suffering at a shelter, at a program with ICE, and, you know, getting stuck there for 2-3 months with no food, getting mistreated, like they say, by the Border Patrol. So what is much easier with all these transgenders and all these, you know, people these women that don't want to prostitute?
It's logical.
It's an easy business.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's why, Cindy, remember the first show I told you?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, there was a reason why they put the caravan in La Zona Norte.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There was a reason why. I told you this. I'm always rah like this. I'm looking forward to another idea. Why they put them over there? That they know that is the most violent part of the city. Why? Because there is the most dangerous cartel that moves more drugs in the city and into the United States is right there. Right there.
Mm-hmm.
The distribution center is right there. The person that moves more people and the cartels that move more people to the United States are right there. There's only 3 shelters in downtown. How are you going to get 3 shelters for 6,200 people? And the most important thing, prostitution of minors is right there. So why they put them right there? Because the cartel and the same people asked for it. They're like, oh, no, don't move it over there. No, come over here. No, how much I got to pay for you? No, pay him up. Just get him over here. I'll take care of it. Mm-hmm. It was illogical for them to put him right there. It is the most unsafe place for them to be. It's surrounded by cartel. It's surrounded by violence. It's surrounded by child trafficking. It is close to the border, so they're violating their own pact of immigration. It's just a block away from the borderline. It is illogical. They put them right there for a particular purpose. And the purpose is to even join the cartel. Even I heard about this case, and I helped a lady. I took her to, she was 50-some years old. She was from El Salvador. She was begging me for me to help her because his nieto, how do you call nieto? No,
grandson.
His
grandson,
yes,
granddaughter.
I think it was his grandson.
Grandson.
He was almost 60, something like that. And his grandson was like 14, 15 years old. And he got involved with something. He was hearing that he got involved with some cartel.
Mm-hmm.
So she was begging me all day that I was over there. Please, sir, please take me to where they find people, where they search for people, where the Department of Searching are missing people. So I was like, oh, man, okay. I grabbed somebody else to go with me because I don't want to go alone. I don't know what these people are capable of. So I put them on the front seat, we went over there. I took her there. And they found the kid later on in San Quintin. San Quintin, where's San Quintin? San Quintin is 6 hours away from here. Look at here. Look at this, Cindy. What is this kid doing? He was working with a little boat they move from a certain part to another part. And what do you think he was moving?
Drugs. Drugs.
He was doing that.
Drugs.
He was moving drugs to some place to another place, and he was packing in the cars, and then the cars moved to the north, to our city. You know, that's how Tijuana is, Cindy. There's a particular reason why they're doing everything. There's a particular reason why a lot of children get lost, a lot of minors, females get lost. There's a particular reason why a lot of kids from between the ages of 16 and 20, they're not with their parents.
I want to ask you something, because recently a lawyer from Al Otro Lado went to your city to speak at a university, and I know you wanted to ask her some questions. You didn't get a chance. I'm going to give you a chance to ask her some questions right now. Just pretend she was here, because one of the things that is very striking to me as we discuss the conditions, for you as a Mexican, you understand that putting the migrants in this caravan in the most dangerous city in the country, maybe in the world, putting the most the caravan in the most dangerous part of that city, where the cartels are, where the prostitution is happening, all of that had a purpose, and the purpose was to exploit these people, to use them, to abuse them, while these activists, including the lawyers, are giving themselves a pat on the back, are telling the world, we are heroes. And you know what we're saving these people from? We are saving these poor people in the caravan from the horrors of the authorities in Mexico, from the racists in Tijuana. I want to know what you would have asked her about how this work, she calls it, the volunteering. What is she doing in your city? What would you have asked her if you had been given the opportunity, given what you know about what they're really doing?
I'm quite, that is one of the places that I every human being has something, that they're really good at. You Cindy, you and Duke are, but Cindy, you're fantastic on finding out stuff. Nobody does it better in the United States. I'm like, damn, Cindy just found out this about this, that, and she just like everything. She just got it like this. Wow, you're just phenomenal with that. A lot of people have different types of things that they can do good at. This is the kind of things that I can particularly, I don't like to brag about myself. You know that I'm really humble, Cindy. You know that. But regarding this is where I shine, really. When I have all these things right here, and right here particularly, and it comes out. It just comes out. And the first thing that I will do, I will present myself to her, and I will tell her, with all due respect, I know that you're doing a great humanitarian work, but I want to ask you about your humanitarian work. And how are you protecting this humanitarian work? Because, first of all, our president said that this is a country that is a third world class country. I want to know, how is a third world class country, and how this international pact of immigration has affected this? Because Tijuana is number one in the world for violence and delinquency. The thing that I said a million times, we got 4 cities on the top 5, we got 5 cities on the top 10, we got 15 cities on the top 50, and you got Honduras on the number 24. The number 1 with homicides of women is Mexico. The number 1 for rapes and women is Mexico. So you're a lawyer, a particular lawyer that protects human rights, and that protects women, and that protects children, how did you get the idea that you can put them right here? Second of all, I want to ask you another thing. Why? Why are you practicing law? With which permits are you practicing law in the Mexico? Do you know about Article 30 and the Article 33 of the Constitution? I know that there's a treaty, but do you know about the Article 30 and the Article 33 of the Constitution of Mexico? You're violating the Constitution of Mexico. Now, 3. That will be the third one. The third one will be, what are you defending? Why are they running away from? You say they're running away from poverty. You say they're running away from killings. You say they're running away from rape. Yes. What am I running away from then? There's been killing the officers. They've been raping women. They're taking away our land. They're trafficking children. They're trafficking organs. They're trafficking people. They're trafficking drugs. So I want you to tell me to my face right now, what is your agenda? What are you protecting? Why are you hurting the sovereignty of my country with all this? Not only that, you defending the United Nations international pact. Why are they not coming peacefully? Why are they hurting my door, the Chiapas door, peacefully? First of all. Second of all, why are they not coming documented? I want you to ask me, when has Al Otro Lado had, the opportunity and to be the first one to tell the U.S. government we're going to do some DNA testing at the border, and not only that, at the border of the United States? When? If you're helping humans. Third, why are they not coming with a purpose? That is the number one. The purpose is what? To come to migrate to Mexico. But you know that you can claim asylum in Honduras and in Guatemala and El Salvador. No, but they're refugees. That's other thing. They can refugee themselves in Mexico, and they already give them 7 cities that they can stay at. Why are they bringing them to the borders? And the last one that I would ask her, why are you collecting money out of them? Why? Isn't that a volunteer work that you're doing?
Uh-huh.
You're volunteering. Why are you asking funds? I'm asking funds to help them with a case. That is not volunteering then. That is actually working. Show me your work visa in my country. Show me your work visa in my country. And the last one, just for top it off. Just for you to, right there. I never seen you in my life working with deported Mexicans. Where have you been all my life? Oh my God, where have you been all my life, Nicole, and everybody in the otro lado, all this, I don't know, Piñeiro and all these people. Where have you been all my life? Why are Mexicans in shelters only giving them 15 days and then kicking them out? Why you didn't help the deported Mexicans that they were living in the park? Let's go to the jungle right there that I show on Sunday, that there are 20-something Mexican deported, that they are right there with no paperwork. Why are you not helping them? Because you're not getting a profit. I know everything. I know why they're doing, what the whole purpose, and why I will destroy that organization, Cindy. I will destroy. That's why they don't want me near them. They don't want me near them. Talk to me about the activists. Are you going to defend him? Are you going to give them political asylum, the one that asked for $50,000? Talk to me about the immigrants that they try to burn the building over here in immigration in Mexicali. Talk to me about the ones that they were instigating it, and all the Antifas and the BAMs and the Rapid Response and the Caravan networks, that they were hurting a police officer later night of the 24th of December. Talk to me about owning the street and hurting the people, the human rights of the Mexicans right here, defecating and doing their necessities outside of the street. Where is your human rights? Where were you? Mm-hmm. I will ask her all these things, Cindy. All these things. And she will not say a word. I'll bet she will not say a word because I can back it up.
Well, I love your questions. I think those are incredible questions. I have many of my own, and I hope to get the opportunity to ask them of her because I'm telling you, I analyze this and I keep analyzing and I turn it and I turn it and I turn it, and from every angle that I look at this, I don't see how people can look upon these activists and lawyers and groups propagating this suffering and inducing people and telling them, come, we're going to take care of all of these things. instead of seeing them for what they are. People that are betraying not only their own country, but damaging the international relationships between Central Americans, Mexicans, and between Mexicans in the United States, and between Mexicans and Central Americans. They are causing lateral oppression and violence against Mexicans. You know what I see, Oscar? I see in all of these groups of activists and these organizations that popped up, I see brown faces. Some of them indigenous, some of them Spanish speaking, but none of them are Mexicanos. The people that are most affected by this problem are silenced within this movement, within this conversation, within this topic. They don't want to hear from us. They don't want to hear from us because we're going to tell the truth about what these activists are doing to Mexicans. They say that they are standing up for human rights, but they're using that line as an excuse to damage the sovereignty of Mexico, to damage this, to betray their own country.
Look at these people, man.
To betray their own country. And all while they say, we are supporting the human rights of Central Americans. That's all we're doing. We're just fighting for the human rights of Central Americans. So believe me and you both got lots of good questions they don't want us to ask. We're going to have to close out our show now. We've been on for a couple of hours. Oscar, as always, so informative. You educate me every single time I talk to you. You are a wealth of knowledge. I thank you for your work, for educating my audience, for being on here and giving us from Tijuana, from the source, from a Mexican, from a person that is in the city most affected by this problem, the voice of the people. Thank you for doing that. And anything you want to say before we let you go?
I want to thank everyone. I'm sorry. I want to thank everyone. Duke. I want to thank Duke. That's my guy, man. That's my guy.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
That's my guy. That's my guy, man. I wish I had his voice, man. I wish I had his voice. I can do a great impersonation. This is Duke Gomez-Schempp.
Well, thank you.
He's a great man. I love Duke. I love that guy. Say hello to Nemo for me. For all the people in Minnesota and North Dakota and all the beautiful, beautiful state that is always snowing, but it's beautiful. Mm-hmm. Say hello to everybody in America. God bless America. It's the greatest country that exists in the world. I'm Mexican, and I'm saying that. Why? Because it's my neighbor, and I know that they are the greatest country that exists in the world. I know that these people are not going to let this invasion come to this country, and I know that everybody in America is going to stand tall and fight against this, immigration system. Like my hero right here said, tierra y libertad, land and freedom. So it's our land, it's our freedom. We will fight until the end. We will fight against the socialist movement. We will win, and we will inform everybody. We will inform everybody the reality and the truth. Thank you, Cindy. Again, follow Border Network News. Follow Anthony Agüero, please, my partner. He's doing phenomenal work at the borders. Follow, my page and follow all the other pages that they are involved in this movement. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and we hope to have you here again next week with the updates. As always, it's been a pleasure having you. Thank you for listening to A Mexican Crossing Lines with special report from Oscar El Blue Ramirez in Tijuana, Mexico. You've been listening to your hosts, Cindy Gomez-Schempp
and Duke Gomez-Schempp,
here on 88.1 FM, KPPPLP Fargo Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. Muchas gracias. Good night.